Social anxiety disorder is more than just feeling shy or a little bit nervous when you're around other people. Also known as social phobia, it's a disabling anxiety disorder characterized by overwhelming anxiety and excessive self-consciousness in everyday social or performance situations, according to the National Institute of Mental Health. It can interfere greatly with your day-to-day functioning, as one sufferer stated. It's less having trouble starting a conversation and more worrying so much about going to a party that you have a panic attack and stay home. Figuring out what methods will best help you cope with social anxiety can be a very difficult process. We created a self-help guide for overcoming social anxiety using the following 7 steps. Even though it can be tempting, trying to suppress your anxiety or wish it away is unlikely to help. If you practice accepting it and seeing it as a normal response to something you find stressful, it'll probably have much less power over you. Your anxiety might be trying to tell you something, so don't ignore it. Everyone experiences anxiety. It's a normal response to stress. Practice acceptance rather than trying to push it away, which tends to be futile anyways. The next step in overcoming social anxiety and shyness is to control your breathing. Through breathing exercises, you learn to calm down when you start getting nervous. Most socially anxious people start worrying about the fact that they're becoming nervous and start to sweat. Worrying makes people more nervous and sweat more. Breathing exercises, however, calm down your body, slows down your heart rate, and makes you feel more relaxed. Breathing exercises can be a powerful tool in overcoming social anxiety. The third step in overcoming social anxiety and shyness is to give you more confidence during conversations. Talking to someone can be very challenging when you don't know what to say, when there's an awkward silence, or when you're afraid of saying something silly. So here are some tools to avoid these painful moments and to boost your confidence when it comes to talking to others. Because in the end, overcoming social anxiety is a lot easier when you have positive experiences. So for instance, let the other person do the work. When people feel uncomfortable during a conversation, they usually make an effort to keep the conversation going. A common way to do this is to talk a lot or ask a lot of questions. By making the other person do a lot of the work by asking open-ended questions, this helps you have more time to think and to formulate your next question. An example is, how did you and your best friend meet? The other person has to answer in more details. Another strategy is one-word questions. One-word questions are great for when you're just joining a conversation and want to participate, or where the other person tells you something and you want to continue talking. Again, this gives you time to relax, think, and become the one leading the conversation. Also, personal questions. Open-ended personal questions are very important. They take the conversation to another level, beyond superficiality. Questions like, how did you two meet? Invite the other person to talk about something personal and make the person feel important and shows that you're interested in them. Overcoming social anxiety is difficult when you have the feeling others around you think you're fat, ugly, uninteresting, or that you blush or stutter often. This feeling can make you feel insecure, ugly, unimportant, or unwanted. Please realize that these are merely just your thoughts. The problem with these thoughts is that you will look for evidence to support these thoughts. This means you'll misinterpret signs, gestures, and comments, and it will make you feel even worse. Ask yourself the question, which proof do I have for these negative thoughts? And tell yourself whether such negative thoughts pop up. I'm only thinking this negative thought, but I know it's only a thought. This way you distance yourself from your thoughts. The following thinking styles make overcoming social anxiety very difficult, so try to identify them and eliminate them if you can. So the first one is mind reading, assuming that you know what the other person is thinking of you. Number 2, personalizing, assuming that all eyes are on you and everything people think, say, or do is negative and has something to do with you. Number 3, fortune telling, predicting the future, usually in the most negative way possible. This makes you more anxious before the event takes place. Number 4, catastrophizing, imagining that things will go horrible or disastrous when things don't go according to plan. Number 5, shoulds and musts. By thinking I must and I should, you're putting too much pressure on yourself and you'll get unrealistically high expectations. Number 6, emotional reasoning. because I feel anxious, there must be danger. Or because I feel anxious, things must go wrong. Number 7, mountains and molehills. Exaggerating the risk of danger and negative things and minimizing positive and realistic odds. Number 8, black and white. Evaluating yourself in terms of good and bad without allowing yourself to do average or rather good. And finally, number 9, post-mortem judgment. After a situation or event, judging your own performance instead of describing the situation. People usually focus mainly on the things that went bad or wrong. So what can you do to stop this? You're too focused on your own feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. So the best thing you can do is to focus on everything but yourself. Pay attention to the way others are dressed, talk, and behave. Pay attention to what others are drinking, what the place looks like, and so on. Overcoming social anxiety is impossible if you don't expose yourself to those situations that cause you social anxiety. By avoiding events that make your anxiety levels rise, you'll never learn how to deal with these situations. Your anxiety will increase over time, and you will avoid even more fun social events in the future. So the best thing to do is to face your fears to make overcoming social anxiety less problematic. The best thing to do is to take small steps to increase the chance of successful experiences and to boost your confidence. So first, write down all situations that are challenging and hard to overcome. Start with the easiest situation and end with the toughest one. Now, before you start exposing yourself to these situations, please think of what you want to achieve in that specific situation. Again, don't make it too hard for yourself, because bad experiences may increase your anxiety levels. For some people, saying hi to a classmate is a goal. For others, sitting in front of other people in class may be very challenging. Once you've achieved your goal, reward and praise yourself. You've done a great job. It may be a good idea to discuss this step with a mental health counselor, because this step can be difficult. Overcoming social anxiety with the help of a counselor is easier because they might know certain pitfalls to avoid. Changing your lifestyle may make overcoming social anxiety easier. Most people with social anxiety use alcohol, drugs, or tranquilizers to calm down during social events. Despite the fact that you relax during these bad habits, you still don't learn how to cope with social events. The easiest way to overcome social anxiety is to stay away from these bad habits or to reduce their intake to a minimum, such as reducing alcohol, limiting caffeine, and getting enough sleep. Counseling can help you overcome social anxiety effectively. The most effective method shown has been cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Typically, CBT for social anxiety focuses on some of the things we've discussed already, such as learning to control and reduce physical symptoms of social anxiety, learning coping skills, replacing negative thoughts for neutral and more positive thoughts, and gradual exposure to challenging events. So in conclusion, even though overcoming social anxiety seems to be difficult, it's definitely worth it. It does take time and lots of practice and requires a gradual approach. So be kind to yourself, give yourself credit when you make progress, and try to learn from your mistakes. Fear of people can be a completely debilitating condition, but over the years, thousands of people have gained a new lease on life from conquering their social fears, particularly through the research-based CBT strategies presented here.